Minister of Finance.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. President, sorry. Madam President, I have listened very carefully to contributions from members opposite. I must say, after so many years, it's becoming very tiring to listen to Senator Mark. Because on every single occasion that Senator Mark speaks, at least from my experience, he utters inaccuracies and untruths. And what I think the opposition does not understand is that kind of rhetoric is what is responsible for the UNC losing 2 elections back to back. That is what the UNC does not understand. I don't think there's any point in responding to anything Senator Marks said, except that the measures with respect to the stock exchange are intended to benefit new listings. And I would have thought that was self-evident. The measures cannot possibly be extended to old listings. And therefore that company that Senator Mark was screaming about, which listed 2 years ago and which is a regional company listed on the stock exchange in Jamaica and in Trinidad and Tobago, dealing with clean energy solutions, cannot possibly benefit from measures that are for new listings on the stock exchange. But Senator Mark is good at these conspiracy theories. Let me move now to the comments of the last speaker. The fact of the matter is, Madam President, that there are over 1 million cars on the roads in Trinidad and Tobago today. 1 million. There are less than 1 million driver's permits issued to people who are alive in Trinidad and Tobago today. What this means is that there are more cars than people with driver's permits. The original thought prior to the 2021 budget was because there are these 1 million cars, we were actually contemplating, and you may have heard some other members of the government speak to this, we were actually contemplating a total ban on the importation of private motor cars for at least a period of 1 year, because there are sufficient cars in Trinidad and Tobago. And in fact, if that had been done, what you'd have seen is a new growth industry emerging, which would have been the repair and maintenance of existing vehicles. The fact of the matter is, Madam President, there are so many cars on the roads that there is no requirement for persons to avail themselves of cars on a regular basis. There's no requirement for that. These measures will not prevent persons from accessing financing for affordable cars. All these measures will do is suppress the demand for cars, hopefully reduce the leakage of foreign exchange, and also reduce some congestion on the roads. Perhaps people may now drive more than one person in a car. I remember years ago looking very carefully at the entry of cars into Port of Spain, and at least half of them, and at that time 250,000 cars came into Port of Spain on a daily basis. 250,000 cars. And the research showed that at least half of them had one person in them, just the driver alone. Nobody else. So hopefully, as we make adjustments, we can influence behaviors. Hopefully it will prevent leakage of foreign exchange, and hopefully people may keep their cars a little longer. But with respect to the measures relating to exemptions for digital and mobile equipment, I want to thank Senator Dionarine. And I just want to point out now the situation as it exists with respect to current exemptions for digital and mobile equipment. I am not accusing Senator Deonarine of this, because it is clear to me that the Honourable Senator did her research. But a lot of people are not aware in Trinidad and Tobago that there are many items that are already duty-free. And I will just list some of them. A computer terminal, a docking station, a keyboard, a monitor, a barcode reader, a Blu-ray disc, a brain computer interface, CD-ROM drive, CDs, central processing unit, a CPU, computer case, computer tape recorded, disk array controller, diskettes. It's a very, very long list. I'm reading out a list of computer peripherals and computer accessories. It's a very, very long list. Graphics card, internal multi-card reader, memory stick, and so on, Madam President. All of these things are already exempt from duty. The things that are not exempt from duty at this time are a particular type of monitor, CRT monitor, and audio compact disc, a type of DVD, an external multi-card reader, a filter for a monitor screen, headsets, joystick for video games, microphones, and a few other accessories and peripherals. So when I look at the list that the Customs and Excise Division has sent to me of items that are described in the Customs classification as digital equipment, software, accessories, and peripherals, there are almost 100 different types of classification, of which at least 80 are free of duty. So what we've decided to do, since the intention is to exempt a particular group of devices which have a broad classification in the bill, and I would read the broad classification now. We're talking about, Madam President, mobile and digital equipment, cell phones, software, accessories, and peripherals. And it is not our intention, for example, for items such as joysticks for video games to be exempted from duties and taxes. What our policy is informed by is the need for the waiver of taxation for matters relating to education, matters relating to business, essential business equipment, and so on. And therefore, what we're going to do as an interim measure is utilize various sections of the income tax laws to deal with particular peripherals and particular accessories, so that most of the computer parts will be duty-free and tax-free, but not all of them. And I can tell you off the bat that we certainly would not be exempting PlayStation and joysticks for video games and joystick controllers and all that sort of thing from duty and taxes. That is not the intention in moving towards a digital society. But certainly things like monitors, parts, CD-ROM drive, central processing unit, and all of the other essential components of digital devices will be exempted. So we will use in the interim a combination of orders using the various tax laws that are on the books at this time. There are provisions within the tax laws to exempt from tax all of these things, and I will be utilizing that. So that I want to thank Senator Derine for drawing to our attention that the Customs Classification Code did not include all of the items, but we will use other measures and other means very selectively to ensure that the appropriate peripherals and accessories and equipment are exempt from duty. We did not think that we should do all either, so we decided to stop at mobile devices. We didn't think at this point in time we wanted to exempt desktops, because that takes you into a whole other realm in terms of the definition of what is a desktop and what it is used for, and whether this is the kind of revenue we could give up at this point in time. So this is going to be a staged process over the next 2 years. In our manifesto and in the roadmap to recovery, we have a time frame to seek to make Trinidad and Tobago a digital economy and a digital society within a 2-year time frame. So we will systematically look at various exemptions for various digital and mobile devices, peripherals and accessories as we go along. But by the appointed date, which is the 1st of January, the vast majority of peripherals, accessories, software, etc. will be exempted by way of various orders in combination, working in tandem with the bill before the Senate. I also listened to what Senator Richards has to say and other members. Some of the contributions were more expansive, dealing with the economy at large rather than the fiscal measures in the bill itself. And I want to give senators an assurance that we have listened and we have taken note of the points made. We've taken note of the points made about we have to do more than simply exempting equipment and accessories from duty. There's much more. There's requirement for public education. There's a requirement to assist people to become computer literate and to make full advantage, to take full advantage of the reduction in prices that we expect to occur after this legislation is passed and the various orders which I will sign between now and the end of December are in place. With respect to the other incentives, let's let me go through them, because as I said, it's becoming really tiring listening to the opposition. They just, I don't know, Madam Speaker, it's like a stock record. But let me go through the actual measures and I can tell you the purpose of the measures and why we on this side are proud to do what we are doing. The first measure is the motor car measure, but the next measure that seems to have earned the wrath of the members opposite is the incentives for construction. And what I do not understand is that we are all capable of accessing information. If one goes to the review of the economy or goes to the CSO website, one can check on the labor force by industry and employment status. And if the members of the opposition had bothered to do that, what they would have seen is that construction and the transportation associated with construction accounts for the employment of almost 120,000 people in Trinidad and Tobago today. It is one of the main areas of employment for our citizens in Trinidad and Tobago today. Anybody who has a smattering of knowledge about construction would also be aware that construction is one of the easiest and quickest ways of increasing the numbers of employed people. And there is a network of distribution that comes from construction in the supply of construction materials, in the manufacturing of construction materials, in the transportation, in the storage of construction materials, in the provision of equipment for the construction industry, in the provision of services for the construction industry. There's a network that flows from any construction activity, Madam President. A network. And I dare say every single one of the 6 UNC opposition senators are aware of that. They are aware of it because when the UNC was in government, they too introduced incentives to stimulate the construction sector because they knew, and they still know, that construction is one of the easiest and the quickest way to boost employment. And in addition, Madam President, what is so good about construction is a lot of unskilled labor people who are not academically qualified, people at the lowest end of the spectrum, can be easily employed and quickly employed in the construction sector. They know that. So why are they against incentives that would stimulate the employment of people, especially at the lowest end of the income spectrum in the construction sector? Why are they against it, Madam President? Why are they against it? And Madam President, some of the arguments are so puerile. Again, from Senator Mark. The incentives are for a class and for a group of activities. They are not intended to benefit an individual. So if, Madam President, if the wear and tear on equipment, the allowance for wear and tear on equipment is increased from 20% to 30%, as the case may be, that benefits every single manufacturer in Trinidad and Tobago. Every single one. Everybody who has a piece of equipment is involved in stimulating economic activity and employing people, especially poor people, will benefit from increased allowances for wear and tear on equipment. Why are they against it? Everybody who is involved in the construction industry, who employs people, who employs truck drivers, laborers, masons, welders, electricians, plumbers, painters, all of them will benefit from stimulating the construction sector. All of our people, especially the people at the lower end of the scale. So why are they coming here with these puerile arguments that these things are intended to only assist?
Minister, Senator Naked, please control yourself and control the comments that you're making. Minister, continue.
Yes, Madam President, these are the puerile comments I'm talking about. The only way people can be employed is if there's somebody to employ them. And therefore, the people who are willing to invest in economic activity are the people who will employ people. We don't have an advanced society where the people in factories and the people in construction sites are robots. They're human beings. So that all of these incentives are designed to help people, to employ people, Madam President.
Senator Mark, you made a comment once, I allowed it to pass. You made it again, I allowed it. This is the last time, okay? Continue, Minister.
Thank you. I know they can handle it, you know. It's not easy to lose 2 elections back to back. I know depression sets in. And Madam Speaker, President, who could be against increasing the personal allowance for 250,000 taxpayers? Who could be against that? 250,000 taxpayers, Madam President. That is how you get the $750 million, because the tax foregone is $3,000. Who could be against that? Only crazy people. And we are happy on this side. We are pleased to take the risk to give up $750 million of tax revenue to put $250 every month in the pockets of 250,000 ordinary people in Trinidad and Tobago. We're glad to do that. We're happy to do that. And we are proud to do that, Madam President. They could make as much noise as they want. That's why they are in opposition, because they have become stale. They are out of date. They are obsolete. They are like the dinosaurs. It's as if a new ice age has hit the UNC. They have become extinct. So, Madam President, when I look at the measures that we are enacting today, every single measure is designed to do something positive for the people of Trinidad and Tobago. Every single one. And I want to thank the independents who made very cogent, important, interesting, intelligent, incisive, useful comments. I particularly want to thank Senator Diona Ryan for looking at that question of the customs tariff number. Thank you very much for that. I want to thank Senator Richards for his contribution. I want to thank Senator C. Prasad for her contribution and all the independents who spoke. Thank you very much. You make the difference for me when I come in this place. Because if I have to listen to Wade Mark and his clones, Senator Wade Mark and his clones, Senator Roberts and Senator Leiter, I will have to walk with a pack of Panadol every time I come inside of here. So thank you, opposition senators. Thank you for remaining in opposition. And thank you for independent senators for helping me to have a nice day. I beg to move.
Honourable Senators, the question is, that a bill entitled An Act to Provide for the Variation of Certain Duties and Taxes and to introduce provisions of a fiscal nature and for related matters be read a second time. Those in favour say aye. Those against say no. I think the ayes have it.
A bill entitled An Act to Provide for the Variation of Certain Duties and Taxes and to introduce provisions of a fiscal nature and for related matters.
Minister of Finance.
Thank you very much, Madam President. In accordance with Standing Order 57-2, I beg to move that the bill not be committed to a committee of the whole Senate.
Honourable Senators, the question is that the bill entitled An Act to Provide for the Variation of Certain Duties and Taxes and to introduce provisions of a fiscal nature and for related matters not be committed to a committee of the whole Senate. Those in favour say aye. Those against say no. I think the ayes have it. The bill will not be committed to a committee of the whole Senate. Minister of Finance.
Thank you. I beg to move that a bill entitled An Act to Provide for the Variation of Certain Duties and Taxes and to introduce provisions of a fiscal nature and for related matters be read a third time and passed.
Honourable Senators, the question is that a bill entitled An Act to Provide for the Variation of Certain Duties and Taxes and to introduce provisions of a fiscal nature and for related matters be now read a third time and passed. Those in favour say aye. Those against say no. I think the ayes have it.